again, everyone. It is Julie Flaherty here with Adventures in Parenting. We are in day 6 of our 30-day journey. We had a small break there in the middle due to some issues, but we are back and ready to go. So here we are again on day 6. Once again, my name is Julie Flaherty, and I will be your parenting guru for the next 30 days. So thanks for joining us on our adventure here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some change, and then tomorrow I'll get back into some of the definitions, but I wanted to talk about change for several reasons. We've gone through some change here at the Adventures in Parenting headquarters. I've personally gone through a couple little changes here in the last few days, and we're all going to go through a lot of changes in the next 30 days together. So I wanted to talk about change and what that has to do with what we're doing. Brain science itself has come a long way in the last few years, and what I mean by few years is maybe the last 15 to 20 years. It seems like a long time, but it's really not in the realm of neuroscience and what happens with brain research. They like to have a lot of time in between the research and have a lot of people that they research before. Scientists really like to say that there's something new and exciting and all that good stuff. So what we're going to talk about really quickly is something called neuroplasticity. So if that's a new term for you, great. We're going to talk a little bit about it today in the ways that I use it and what I tell kids and talk to kids about. For parents, if you want to Google it, there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pages about neuroplasticity. There are several documentaries about it. PBS has a great one that they show periodically, so I recommend it, and for the life of me, the name escapes me, but that's okay. I'll figure it out, and I can put it in the comment box for everybody. It's not important right now what the name of it is, but the fact is there's a lot of great information out there for you guys to get if you would like to check into it. For our sake, and for the sake of argument of what we're doing, neuroplasticity is kind of what it sounds like. It's brain plasticity. It's how the brain reacts to new information and how it changes. And what we used to think as professionals was that by the age of 5, the brain was formed, and then it was kind of all downhill from there. That's a generic way to look at it, but quite frankly, we would peak and go to a certain point, and then as age developed, we would start losing it, and I believe the hill crests somewhere around, if I recall correctly, we start younger, and then as we get in our teens, we're still sort of learning, but not really, and then in our 20s and 30s and 40s, it levels off, and somewhere in our 60s, it starts to go back down, and then in our 80s, it plummets. That's what we used to know, what would happen, right? Well, now we know differently. The brain changes all the time. And the good news is it changes all the time. So there are sections in the brain we can strengthen and work like the muscle that it is. And there are things that could atrophy and die off due to a virus in the brain or the fluid in the brain, I should say, traumatic brain injury. Unfortunately, we've seen not only in stroke victims, but we've seen in car accident victims, and we've seen in our soldiers that have come back from war. Traumatic brain injury is huge. It's sad, but it can be worked with and rebuilt. So that's very cool to see and know and be a part of when that happens. The other part I want to talk about with change and brain change, as the case may be, is change is a good thing. And for many of us, those type A'ers out there, or slight OCD people, yeah, I'm one of them. I know it's hard to tell sometimes, but I can be OCD on certain things. My ADD kicks in, sure, but I can still get a little OCD on things. There are certain things I want a certain way. Ask my kids, they'll tell you. But change is good. And we need to remember that the brain changes for 3 different reasons, and that's it. We change out of fear, anger, or frustration. That's it. It's the only reason we change. As my grandma used to say, if we were fat and sassy and content, we have no reason to change anything, right? I like to use myself in this case, so no driving on in this case, but if my pants start to get a little tight, so let's just say, exercise is a tough one for me, and my friends watching, I'm sure, will vouch for that, that I am not a fan of exercise. So let's say my pants start to get a little tight, for the sake of argument. Well, I have three things I could do. I could get really frustrated to have to go into the store to buy a bigger size and change something about that so I don't have to do that. I could be afraid for my health and change my diet and exercise and try and get everything to a healthier place. Or I could be angry with myself every time I drive through a drive-through or spend too much money on coffee, you know those places, right? Um, Rather than just make the coffee at home, or stop drinking sodas and get angry at myself about the money spent and the empty calories. So if I get angry or fearful or frustrated, I'm going to change. If not, I'll just go into the store and buy a bigger size, right? I'm a firm believer that every bit of clothing for women should all say size 4 anyway, and that way we won't care and we just try on the size 4 until one fits us. I don't know. I may be the only one. Anyway, I digress. So going back to change, if you were to look around the Adventures in Parenting cubby, where I am, my little office, you'll notice a slight change, and that's in me. Yes, the hair color is different. Do not adjust your screen. There's nothing wrong. You will find I change my hair color often, so hopefully during this series this will be the only color change you will see. You never know. But I'm a fan of change. I change things a lot because I feel and believe wholeheartedly and professionally and personally that if we do everything the same way all the time, not only will we get stagnant, but what's the definition of crazy? It's doing the same thing and expecting different results, right? Well, if I keep doing the same thing over and over and over and getting the same results, it's not going to help me. So if I change little things during the day, whether that's where I'm sitting to do these videos, whether that's changing clothing or style, or whether that's changing hairstyle, or whether that's changing shoe style, um, it helps me. It helps me become more creative. It helps me think differently. I have to change my environment every once in a while, or my creative juices really stop flowing. For example, we had air conditioning issues, and with that came humidity issues. And unfortunately, the software that I use does not perform very well in the high humidity. And when our offices were up to 96 degrees every day with the humidity on top of that, it really stifled my creativity. And quite frankly, it was rough around Adventures in Parenting and Camp Flaherty headquarters. It was rough. But we're all back now. The air is on. You could probably see papers flickering from the air vents. I may be freezing my husband out the next 2 days, but I'm okay with that. And he's agreed not to complain for 2 whole days, no matter how cold I put it. So that's a bonus, right? It's going to get my creative juices flowing, that's for sure. Anyway, so change is good. And for those of you out there where change is tough and rough and awful and frustrating, try to keep in mind what the end goal is with the change. And the end goal normally is that we've learned something new that we can use, and we've learned something new that's helpful, and we've grown and changed in a way that we needed to. Yes, sometimes change is hard, but it's always for the best. Always. Always. I've yet to see something change that was awful. So know that with growth and change, it's good. It's always good. Change is good. So with that being said, I'm going to let everybody go. Thank you for tuning in today. for day 6, and thanks for hanging in there for day 6. Remember, the comment box is yours. Use it. I read them. I love comment boxes. I love comments. So please leave them, whether that's Facebook, whether that's here on YouTube. If you'd like to email me, you guys know it by now. It's julie.flaherty, Flaherty, @gmail.com. Say it with me. You know the words. So comment box is your friend. Please use it. On the other side of that, please don't forget, we're going to be showing day 5, 6, and 7 all at the same time due to the technical difficulties earlier in the week. So you're going to get bombarded on day 8, but I'd rather have you be bombarded than miss a day or two, okay? So let me know if it's too much all at once, and by day 8 we'll be all caught up, and that'll be the end of bombardment. Great game, by the way. Anyway, I will talk to everybody in the next video, and until then, comment. See you later.